We've all had those moments, right in the middle of something important, like a job interview or a first date, when out of nowhere, our nerves take over. Suddenly, our palms are sweaty, our voice falters, and it feels like we're no longer in control of our own bodies. Tossed around by racing thoughts and a pounding heart, it appears as though our feelings have taken control of us and that we are now mere passengers in our own skin, helpless against the onslaught of emotions. But here's the thing, what if I told you that some of the greatest minds in history, the Stoics, mastered the art of staying calm under pressure long before anxiety became part of our daily vocabulary? These ancient philosophers crafted a timeless blueprint for managing stress, emotions, and life's inevitable chaos. Their strategies were not only about surviving life's hardships, but thriving through them. Today, we'll delve deep into the world of Stoicism, discovering insights that can help us all better manage our emotions and reactions. We'll explore how Stoicism teaches us to harness our emotions instead of being overrun by them, offering us tools for a life of greater peace, resilience, and purpose. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, uncertain, or anxious, stick around. This wisdom might just change the way you approach life's toughest moments. And if you find value in what we're discussing today, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with someone who could use a bit of Stoic wisdom. Let's begin. Imagine your emotions as a well-meaning but sometimes overbearing friend, one who doesn't always know when to step back and give you space. They aren't your enemy. In fact, emotions are essential. They act as internal signals that guide you through life, helping you recognize danger, celebrate achievements, and form deep connections with others. However, without proper management, these same emotions can easily overwhelm you, leaving your logical mind in the dust. Our brains are ancient machines, designed for survival in a world far more dangerous and unpredictable than the one we live in today. When an emotion like fear or anger is triggered, it's like a loud alarm going off in your brain, warning you of potential threats. This alarm doesn't care whether you're in the middle of something important. It blares on, often before your rational mind has had a chance to process the situation. And that's where things can spiral out of control. But here's the crucial point. You are not at the mercy of these alarms. This is where the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, which had its roots in Greece but underwent refinement by Roman thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, comes into play. Stoicism teaches us that while we might not be able to control when or how emotions hit us, we do have control over how we respond to them. The Stoics understood that emotions themselves aren't the problem. It's our reactions to them that can cause issues. They believed that emotions are natural and inevitable, but how we handle them is what defines our character and quality of life. The goal is not to suppress or eliminate emotions, that would be impossible, but to develop the ability to pause and respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. So how do we do this? The first step is recognition. By becoming aware of the triggers and signs of our emotions, we can begin to anticipate and understand them better. This doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, self-reflection, and practice. But by learning to see emotions for what they are, informative rather than directive, we can step up and take control of our responses, steering them in a direction that aligns with our values and goals. Mastering this ability not only improves our internal state of mind, but it also enhances the quality of our relationships, decision-making, and overall sense of fulfillment. The Stoics believed that emotions arise from our judgments about the world, not the world itself. For instance, let's say you're interrupted during a meeting. If you interpret this interruption as a personal slight, you're likely to feel anger or frustration. But here's the Stoic twist. By changing how you interpret the event, you can change your emotional response. It's not about denying how you feel, but about questioning the assumptions that underlie those feelings. Consider Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers who also happened to be a Roman emperor. Marcus faced political turmoil, wars, and even a plague during his reign, pressures that would crush most of us. Yet, despite these overwhelming challenges, Marcus is remembered for his calm, reflective nature. He famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is the essence of Stoicism. External events are often beyond our control, but our internal state, our thoughts, judgments, and reactions are always within our power. By mastering our reactions, we find true strength and resilience. Because no matter what life throws at us, we retain control over how we respond. Another prominent Stoic, Epictetus, emphasized that it's not the events themselves that upset us, but our judgments about them. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This shift in perspective is immensely powerful because it puts the control back in your hands. You may not be able to control that initial flash of emotion, but you can control what follows. When an emotion arises, whether it's anger, fear, or sadness, you have a choice. You can let it take over, or you can pause, reflect, and decide how to respond. What's liberating about Stoicism is that it teaches us to recognize the power of that pause. In the space between stimulus and response, we regain our ability to choose actions that align with our higher values rather than momentary emotional impulses. But how do we put this into practice? How do we actually take control of our emotions instead of letting them control us? The Stoics had several practical techniques to help manage emotions. One of the most effective is called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This exercise involves imagining potential difficulties and setbacks before they happen. It's not about being pessimistic, but about mentally preparing for challenges so that when they arise, you're not caught off guard. For instance, if you mentally rehearse how you'll handle a difficult meeting, an unexpected argument, or a personal loss, you'll be better equipped to manage your emotions when these situations occur in real life. By visualizing potential hardships, the Stoics lessened the emotional impact of surprises, allowing them to face challenges with a balanced, calm mind. Another technique the Stoics used is cognitive reframing, which involves changing your perspective on an event. Let's say someone cuts you off in traffic. Instead of immediately feeling anger and assuming the person did it on purpose, you might reframe the situation. Perhaps they're rushing to an emergency, or maybe they just didn't see you. By changing your narrative about the event, you change your emotional response. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of aligning your actions with your core values rather than fleeting emotions. Ask yourself, does reacting with anger or frustration align with my values? What would the best version of myself do in this situation? You can avoid acting in a way that is inconsistent with who you want to be by basing your decisions on your long-term objectives and core values. It's important to note that Stoicism isn't about becoming emotionless. It's not about suppressing or avoiding emotions. In fact, emotional suppression can be harmful in the long run. Instead, Stoicism is about emotional mastery, understanding your emotions, accepting them, and then consciously choosing how to respond. One powerful Stoic practice for cultivating emotional mastery is mindfulness. This involves being fully present in the moment and observing your emotions without judgment. When an emotion flares up, take a moment to pause. Name the emotion. Is it anger, frustration, fear? Simply acknowledging what you're feeling can diminish the emotion's overwhelming power, allowing you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Mindfulness also helps you recognize emotional patterns. Maybe you always feel anxious before giving a presentation, or perhaps you get easily irritated when someone challenges your ideas. By becoming aware of these patterns, you can start to anticipate your emotional reactions and prepare yourself to handle them in a healthier way. In addition to mindfulness, the Stoics practiced what they called emotional acceptance. This means accepting that you're feeling a certain way without immediately judging yourself or reacting to the emotion. Acceptance allows you to step back and observe your emotions like clouds passing through the sky. Acknowledge them, but don't let them sweep you away. Mastering your emotions and consistently choosing rational actions over impulsive reactions is no small feat. It requires dedication, patience, and resilience. But as we practice Stoicism, we encounter numerous challenges that test our resolve and ability to apply these principles to real-life situations. One of the first challenges many of us face is the intensity and immediacy of our emotional reactions. Emotions are powerful, and even the most dedicated Stoic practitioners can find themselves overwhelmed by a sudden surge of fear, anger, or sadness. The key to overcoming this challenge isn't to suppress these emotions, but to acknowledge their presence without letting them dictate your actions. This requires a high level of self-awareness and the ability to pause and reflect in the heat of the moment. Another challenge is maintaining consistency in applying Stoic practices. It's one thing to remain calm and composed in a controlled environment, but it's entirely different to do so under stress, in the face of adversity, or during a crisis. This is where the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum becomes incredibly helpful. By mentally preparing for potential difficulties, we strengthen our resilience, reducing the shock and discomfort when those challenges inevitably arise. In relationships, whether personal or professional, Stoicism can be a game changer. Emotions can easily escalate, turning minor misunderstandings into full-blown conflicts. But Stoicism offers a different approach. Instead of reacting impulsively when emotions are high, the Stoic practice of pausing and reflecting allows us to respond with understanding and empathy. For instance, in a heated argument with a partner or colleague, you might feel an immediate urge to defend yourself or snap back. But by taking a Stoic pause, you can calm your initial emotional response and choose to listen to the other person's concerns. This doesn't mean you suppress your own emotions. Rather, you approach the situation with a rational, empathetic mindset, which can lead to healthier communication and stronger relationships. Stoicism teaches that life is filled with challenges, and these challenges are opportunities for growth. By facing adversity with calm and composure, we strengthen our mental toughness and resilience. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding difficulties. It comes from meeting them head-on with a clear, steady mind. Consider Seneca, a Stoic philosopher who lived through political intrigue, exile, and personal loss. He famously said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Each time we face a challenge with a Stoic mindset, choosing rational action over emotional reactivity, we strengthen our ability to handle future stresses with greater ease. This resilience doesn't just make life easier, it enhances our overall well-being. Studies have shown that people who practice emotional regulation, an essential component of Stoicism, tend to experience less anxiety and depression and have greater life satisfaction. By learning to manage our emotional responses, we not only improve our mental health, but also cultivate a deep-seated sense of inner peace. Stoicism's emphasis on self-awareness and self-regulation extends beyond managing our own emotions. It also improves our empathy and understanding of others. When we can recognize and manage our own emotional triggers, we're better equipped to understand the emotional states of those around us. This heightened empathy allows us to navigate social interactions more skillfully, fostering deeper connections and reducing conflict. Let's explore a few real-world scenarios where Stoicism can make a significant difference in how we handle challenges. Imagine you've poured your heart into a project at work, but during a presentation, a colleague interrupts you with harsh criticism. Your immediate emotional response might be irritation, defensiveness, or even anger. Stoicism teaches us to pause in such moments. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a deep breath and acknowledge your initial emotional reaction without acting on it. Once you've paused, ask yourself, what is this emotion telling me? Why do I feel this way? Instead of lashing out, respond calmly, perhaps by asking for specific feedback. This rational, composed response not only preserves professional relationships, but also enhances your reputation as someone who can handle stress and criticism with grace. Let's say you're having a disagreement with a close friend or partner. The conversation starts to escalate and emotions begin to flare. In moments like these, it's easy to let emotions drive the conversation, turning a small disagreement into a full-blown argument. Stoicism teaches us to recognize these emotional triggers as they arise. When you feel anger or frustration bubbling up, pause. Take a moment to reflect before responding. Consider the other person's perspective and choose a response that aligns with your values of empathy, understanding, and kindness. By doing so, you help de-escalate the situation and foster healthier communication. Perhaps you're trying to maintain a fitness routine or stick to a diet, but it's easy to give in to momentary impulses. Maybe you skip a workout because you're tired, or indulge in an unhealthy snack because you're stressed. Stoicism teaches us to focus on long-term goals rather than short-term comforts. When faced with the temptation to abandon your routine, remind yourself of the greater purpose behind your actions. Are you skipping a workout because you're genuinely fatigued, or are you giving in to a fleeting emotion? By aligning your actions with your values and long-term goals, you can strengthen your willpower and achieve lasting success. Life inevitably brings loss, whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the loss of a job. Grief and sorrow are understandable emotional responses to such events, but Stoicism offers a framework for navigating these emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. When we experience loss, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our responses, our values, and our actions. While we may feel sadness or grief, we don't have to let those emotions dictate our actions or define our character. By accepting our emotions as part of the human experience and choosing to respond with resilience and courage, we honor both our own journey and the memory of what we've lost. Interestingly, modern psychology and neuroscience have validated many of the Stoic principles that were developed thousands of years ago. One of the core Stoic practices, regulating emotional responses, is closely aligned with what psychologists today call emotional regulation. This isn't about suppressing emotions, but managing how we express and respond to them. Studies in emotional regulation show that people who effectively manage their emotions tend to have better mental health, higher satisfaction with life, and stronger relationships. These findings support the Stoic view that gaining mastery over our reactions can significantly enhance our well-being. From a neuroscientific perspective, Stoic practices make sense as well. The brain's prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for higher order thinking, plays a critical role in managing emotional responses that are processed in the more primitive parts of the brain, such as the amygdala. When we practice Stoic techniques like mindfulness or cognitive reframing, we're essentially training our prefrontal cortex to take the lead in emotional situations, allowing us to respond with reason rather than react with instinct. This process of strengthening the brain's ability to regulate emotions is known as neuroplasticity, or the brain's capacity to rewire itself based on new experiences. Each time we practice Stoic techniques, we reinforce neural pathways that support these behaviors. Over time, these pathways become stronger, making it easier to choose reasoned responses over emotional reactions, even in stressful situations. Research has also shown that mindfulness and reflection, both key components of Stoicism, can lead to changes in brain structures associated with awareness, empathy, and stress reduction. These practices don't just make us feel better in the moment, they create lasting changes in how we experience and manage our emotions. So how can you integrate Stoicism into your daily life? The beauty of Stoicism lies in its practicality. Here are some powerful daily practices drawn from Stoic wisdom that can help you build resilience, manage your emotions, and live a life aligned with your highest values. 1. Mindfulness practice. Dedicate a few minutes each morning or evening to focus on the present moment. Whether through meditation or simply paying attention to your thoughts and feelings, this practice creates mental space around your reactions, allowing you to respond to life's challenges with composure. 2. Journaling. Keeping a daily journal can help you reflect on your experiences and decisions. Write about instances where you successfully applied Stoic principles and moments where you could have done better. This self-reflection isn't about self-criticism, but about self-improvement. 3. Visualization. Spend a few minutes each day imagining how you will handle the challenges ahead with Stoic calmness. Whether it's dealing with a difficult colleague or navigating a personal issue, visualize yourself responding with grace and rationality. 4. Set intentions. Each day, set a clear intention about which Stoic virtues you want to embody, whether it's courage, wisdom, justice, or temperance. Remind yourself of these values throughout the day, using them as your guide for decisions and interactions. 5. Gratitude practice. The Stoics believe that happiness comes from appreciating what you have rather than yearning for what you don't. At the end of each day, reflect on 3 things you are grateful for. This simple practice can shift your focus from what's going wrong to what's going right, fostering contentment and resilience. 6. Emotional logging. Track your emotional reactions throughout the day. Note what triggered the emotion, how you responded, and what you could have done differently. This practice helps you identify patterns and gives you insights into how to manage similar situations more effectively in the future. 7. Embrace discomfort. Deliberately expose yourself to discomfort to build mental and emotional fortitude. This could mean taking a cold shower, fasting, or pushing yourself through a challenging workout. The goal is to train yourself to endure discomfort with composure, reinforcing the Stoic value that external conditions should not disturb your inner peace. 8. Pause and reflect. Throughout your day, make it a habit to pause and reflect before reacting to emotional triggers. This pause creates the space needed to choose a rational response over an impulsive reaction, helping you align your actions with your values. 9. Practice empathy. When interacting with others, try to see things from their perspective. This practice not only improves your relationships, but also enhances your emotional intelligence, allowing you to navigate social situations with greater ease and understanding. 10. Daily philosophical reading. Spend a few minutes each day reading Stoic texts, such as Marcus Aurelius's Meditations or Epictetus's Enchiridion. These readings serve as a daily reminder of Stoic principles, reinforcing your commitment to living a life of purpose, integrity, and resilience. Stoicism is more than just a philosophical theory. It's a way of life. By integrating these practices into your daily routine, you'll not only enhance your ability to manage challenges, but also enrich your life with greater peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Each day presents new opportunities to practice Stoicism, and each practice brings you closer to mastering the art of living well. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Stoic insights. Remember, every day is a new opportunity to strengthen your mind and lead a life of purpose and resilience. If you found value in today's discussion, be sure to watch one of our suggested videos to continue exploring the profound wisdom of the Stoics. We're grateful to have you as part of our community walking this path together.